Hello and welcome back to Launching Your Business Part 2. So up to this point, you should have done three things. One is purchase or access GoPro audiobook by Eric Worre, and if not, please start listening to it so that you can start getting a kickstart to your business, learning the basics of this industry. So GoPro audiobook. You can check that off if you've already done that. Second thing is accessing Building Your Network Marketing Business by Jim Rohn. Either get this disc from your upline if they happen to have it in bulk like I do and I hand it out to people, only if they promise that they're going to listen to it, or access it for free on YouTube. Both GoPro and Jim Rohn can be found on YouTube for free, but again, as I mentioned in the previous video, I love having audio discs or something to plug into your car so that while you're driving, it's called net time, no extra time, you're already doing it anyway, but you're actually on autopilot, and so instead of just soaking up radio and things like that, you're growing yourself, you're investing in yourself, and you're utilizing and optimizing that time. So those two things, and last is establishing your why. And we talked about the importance about how your why is going to be what drives your business. When your why is strong enough, the how-to is irrelevant. Now, a lot of this video series is going over the how-to, so you have the basic building blocks and the mechanics of how to build this business, but at the end of the day, if your why isn't strong enough, you're not going to last here. And I hate to sound so harsh, but it's just the truth, because people who keep it very generic and they say, oh, just extra income or just something to pay my bills, paying your bills isn't going to be what excites you to get out of bed and build your Kayani business. So make sure that it's something that's actually emotionally rooted, because if it doesn't excite you, it's not going to keep you in the grind when this business, while it is so fun, so fulfilling, it's going to be challenging sometimes. And don't be worried if you maybe don't know yet. You genuinely have, you've tried to dig deep, but you just don't know yet. As you grow through this business, you may actually come to figure out what it is that you want. That's what I love so much about this business is I've seen people come in here very aimless, but they just saw potential in here, and they grew into someone with direction, someone with clarity. And oftentimes when you grow your team, their why becomes your why. So maybe you don't know yet, but then all of a sudden one of your closest friends, their parents both just lost their jobs, or one of them is really sick and they really need this product, and all of a sudden you become passionate about their why. So those three things, GoPro, Jim Rohn, and establishing your why. If you haven't done that already, please pause the video, knock that out so we can move forward. So this whole video is going to be on making your list and the first invite approach, because it's going to talk about the general rebuttals, and in a separate video we're going to go over the rest of the invite approaches. There's only about 5, very simple, but the reason why there's a few different approaches is because inviting is not a one-size-fits-all. When we sit down and we actually go through your list together, or you go through it with your upline mentor, we're going to go through your list one person at a time, saying, okay, who is this, what's your relationship with them, when was the last time you talked with them, and why did you think of them for sharing the business? Are they one of your whips? What's their, how can they potentially be an asset to the team, or what is their need? So the reason why we have those approaches is so that we can kind of hybridize and see what works best for that person. So that way we're not just spamming people, okay? We want to stay away from that. So this whole video is going to be on the first part of recruiting, and it starts with making your list. So again, if you haven't downloaded your Diamond Dynasty playbook, you can access it on kayanilaunch.wordpress.com. And making your list is the first step. Okay, some people, they skip this step, and I can tell already, I guess, how far someone's going to go by just taking the time to do this step. This step is critical. Amateurs, and it says in this little talking bubble right here, a word from Eric Worre, they only make a mental list of 3 to 5 people, and they never actually take the time to write it down. And what happens is their entire future of their network marketing career, their business in Kayani, is dependent upon the response of those few people. And so they approach, 3 of their friends, all 3 say no, and they go, oh, I guess it's not going to work. And it's just, obviously, this business does work. That's why we've produced incredible results in Team Fusion, but you have to take it seriously, and the things that are easy to do are also easy not to do, and making your list is so easy. But the larger the list, the more confidence you're going to have, because let's say the first 5 people say no, you're like, that's fine, I still have 300 people to talk to, okay? And so for the people who I work with personally, I say make a list of 100 minimum, okay? 100 is not hard, and it sounds like a lot for a lot of people, but I've actually gotten over and over when people are like, Sarah, that's a lot. I don't know, I don't even think I know 20 people. Then when we actually sit down and focus, in 20 minutes they've created a list of 100 because they're like, wow, that was a lot faster than I thought, because the act of writing out their names starts to jog your memory, and you're thinking, oh yeah, and this person, oh yeah, and this person. And actually on this sheet there are memory joggers that are incredible. So think about, someone who is entrepreneurial, caring, who's a natural leader, who doesn't like their job, who has experience in network marketing, other things like this. If you just come up with 1 or 2 people for every trait on here, that in itself is going to be maybe 50 people. And then for your other 50, go to Facebook or go to your phone book in your phone and take 2 names from the A's, 2 names from the B's, 2 names from the C's, and you've already smashed 100. And you're only, so far through your contact list. So just make sure that you take it seriously, make your list, because that's going to be your resource list. And there's even places in your playbook, there's actually 2 sheets that looks like that you can write those names down. So after this video is over, take the time to create your list. And the point is just put your network on paper. Not just people that you can want to recruit for the business, but also people who you think could benefit from the product, okay? So next, we're actually going to get into inviting. So inviting is what Eric Worre calls the gateway skill. So a lot of people, they jump the gun and they go, Sarah, can you show me how to present? Can you tell me how do I close? How do I answer these rebuttals and things like that? But the first step is inviting, because you could be an awesome closer and you could be an awesome presenter. But if you have no one to present to, then it's kind of void, right? The first skill is getting people in front of the business and doing it effectively. What we never want to do, and I'm just going to say this up front, never compromise your integrity. And by that, I mean doing like a smoke and mirror tactics, like, hey, want to go to dinner? And then all of a sudden you like take a left instead of a right and you take them to your friend's house and you like ambush them and put them in front of the business. Never do that, okay? I've heard horror stories like that from like other companies, and that's why people don't like network marketing. When you build it the right way, it is an incredible industry. And so just make sure that you're always transparent, because if you have to lie to get them there, they're thinking, why did this person have to trick me here? If they were that confident in what they had to share with me, then they would have just been upfront. And people really, really appreciate when you respect them enough to tell them the truth. And why wouldn't you? Because Kayani is the best opportunity in the world, in my opinion, obviously. And so inviting it's very simple, but there is a right and wrong way to do it. So if you read here, and it's on page 16, it says, the key to effective inviting is excitement, urgency, and exclusivity. Okay? Excitement, urgency, and exclusivity. So what that doesn't mean is doing a mass post on Facebook saying, hey everybody, I have this great business opportunity, can't wait to share it with you all. Everyone come over to my house, we're going to be talking about this business opportunity. Only costs $5.99. See you guys tomorrow at 5:30. Right? And so it's just, it wasn't special, it wasn't personal, versus you reach out to someone one at a time. Maybe it takes a little bit longer to go one at a time, but if you have that urgency, it actually shouldn't take long. But because you took the time to do that, your conversion rate of people you reach out to that converts into people who actually end up taking a look is way higher because you did that. So it says these scripts are designed to prevent a new person from word vomiting all over their best prospects, because sometimes they're super excited. And don't get me wrong, ignorance on fire is way better than knowledge on ice. I've been both, okay? And sometimes brand new people can just sponsor a brand new person just because their conviction and their confidence. And at the end of the day, yes, that's right. It doesn't matter what you say. If you say it with passion, people want to be part of what you're doing because they're tired of the monotony in their lives of running the rat race. And so just be excited, be passionate, but it does help to have at least the basic building blocks and a roadmap. So here it says the only purpose of an invite is to see if they are what? It's to see if they are open, okay? And it's not to close them, it's not to sell them. Sometimes I've had people say, like, after we've done a three-way call, they're like, well, did they get started? Do they want to do it? I'm like, no, that wasn't the point of the call. The call was to get to know them, form them a little bit, and also just let them know what's going on, what we're working on, and see if it's something that they're open to learning more about. And just understand that if you're already talking about the pay structure and the pay plan and stuff like that, you've gone too far, because an invitation should never mix with a presentation, okay? People who word vomit because they're so excited, they're just like, hey, I have this great business opportunity, it only costs $5.99, or you can get it at $12.99, that's $1,300, and we get free cars, and we have this blueberry juice and these vitamins and saving lives, and you go under me, and then I put people under you, and it's just like, holy smokes. People just feel like fire hosed, okay? So what your job is to peak and pass. And again, I hope that you're following along in your playbook, but I just want to show you peak and pass. So peak just means to pique someone's interest and generate curiosity. So your job is to be a 30-second commercial to a 30-minute presentation or a movie, okay? And so the presentation's obviously the movie, but everyone hates it when you tell them the ending to a movie. So don't tell them everything about the presentation, just like you wouldn't about a movie, just because if you tell them everything about the presentation prior to the actual presentation, you've done two things. One, you've given them no reason to come now because they feel like they've gotten all the information and they prejudged it based on what you said. Two, you've actually done them a bigger disservice because now they never got a chance to see the full thing the right way and make an educated decision. Whether it's for them or not, it's not our decision, but they should at least make an educated decision by seeing it the right way. And don't worry though, if you've already word vomited on a couple people and they didn't have a positive response, there is a way to recover, and we're going to talk about that. So it says be sure to role play different scenarios. So the point of this video is so that you can have some background knowledge on inviting and effective recruiting, so that by the time we get together, you're already familiar, and now we just start to role play so you can start to get really comfortable and confident in your inviting, okay? So let me see here. I say phone is always best. People can hear your sincerity, and it's faster. You get a yes or no right there on the spot. Texting, sometimes you can say, I've seen that they read the message but they're not responding, and so it's just kind of like you're playing tag. But I've also seen text be effective if you do it the right way. So that's why you want to make sure that you invite with your mentor there in person, or at least live or video conference. I've done that too. So that way we can course correct as we go. Okay, so those are the keys to inviting: excitement, urgency, and exclusivity. And your only job is to what? Peek and pass. So pass, I mean pass it to a third party, whether it's links and resources, the app, or a PBR with your presenter there, okay? So next we're going to talk about no words. Before we get into the actual approaches, I want to talk about some things to steer clear of. And it's so funny because sometimes if someone was not properly launched, which now with this video series everyone should be getting properly launched, they word vomited, and then when we go over this and I sit down and I say, okay, these are things you should not say, then they're like, wow, I said all of those words. Okay, so on this page 17, business opportunity, you want to stay away from that because it is so overused in network marketing. Everyone's like, hey, I have this great business opportunity and you seem really sharp, blah, 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 and then they spam you. I get spammed all the time, even to this day by other network marketers. And I just respond, I say, hey, you know, I'm already very happy with my company, but please do us a huge favor and don't spam people. They didn't even ask how I was doing, how my family is, what I do for work, or anything. They just, blah, they just like word vomit in Facebook. So don't do that. I like to say business project. I'm working on a huge business project with some very successful people, right? Something like that just sounds more professional. I don't really like to say join. I'm just not a huge fan of it. It doesn't sound professional. I like to say I partnered with, or I just got started. Rep or downline, that's just very impersonal to say this is one of my reps. This is one of my partners. This is my success team, okay? Prospect, of course, when we're talking in the business to each other, you can talk about your prospects. It's just a terminology thing. But in front of them at events, like at a hotel event or at a PBR, you say, Mr. Bradford, this is my prospect, John. John, this is my mentor, James Bradford. And this person's like, wow, I'm just another prospect, versus this is my guest, okay? You want to make them feel special. Meeting and seminar. It sounds so boring and people associate it with work, so I like to call it a VIP launch event or a pre-launch event if it's going to be one of those hotel DFY events. And I don't use DFY, honestly, with people outside of network marketing that I'm talking to because no one knows what DFY is. I say VIP launch event, and they're very excited because people want to be surrounded with important people. If it's a PBR, I call it a sit-down, or if we're going to Starbucks with these successful people, I say we're going to have a sit-down, go over all the details. So I call it a sit-down with XYZ, not a meeting or seminar, and I don't really have to call it a presentation either. It's not here, but no one will say, hey, come look at the presentation. Again, sounds impersonal. Versus sit down, we're just going to have a conversation. Upline, people outside network marketing, they have no idea what an upline is. And so you want to say senior business partner or mentor. Also, I'll meet you there. Okay, the chances of a no-show are much higher versus I'll come pick you up. Can you be ready by this time? Okay. And the last one, this is my favorite. I'll try. Don't say I'll try. Anyone in my organization, they already know that's kind of like it's like a cuss word almost. Like when they say it, they're like, oops. Because it's such a weak word, and it's set up, it's going to set you up for failure, basically. And so I understand some people say, okay, I'm going to try and do this because they're trying to manage their, there's no such thing as try. You either do or you don't. And some people, they're hoping to manage their expectations so that they don't get disappointed, so they say try versus I will or I won't. Either way, it's fine, but be definitive in your speech because you do speak things into reality. So if you say, I'm going to try and go Jade this month. No, I will go Jade this month. Okay, that you can already hear the difference in the conviction in it. And considering that you do speak things into reality, you want to be confident in your speech, or instead of I'm going to try and have a PBR this week, or I'm going to try and have 10 people at my PBR, no, I will have a PBR this week and I will have 10 people there. and then you just do what it takes, okay? So it's very simple. Either you will or you won't. Don't say try, because you're setting yourself up for failure already. Okay, so now we're going to get into the first invite approach, and this is the only one we're going to go through in this video. I'm going to have a separate video that's going to go over the rest of the approaches, but before I do that, I'm just going to at least tell you what the approaches are so that you are familiar with what your options are, okay? So first we have the invite roadmap, and that is on page 18, and it looks like this. And I love it because anything that they say, whether they're available or not, whether they say yes, no, or what is it, you literally just follow the arrows, okay? And so you cannot, it's hard to get lost, but you obviously want to at least familiarize yourself with it before you use it on a live prospect. And so this is basically, the idea is, hey, I got connected with some really successful people. So you're talking about a third party, it's not on you. And the next one is called the opinion approach. This is like saying, hey, I'm starting my own business and I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm really excited and I want to get some feedback from someone that I trust. So if I share the plan with you, would you be open to taking a look? That's the gist of what that one is. Then there's the indirect approach. And this just sounds like, hey, you know, I know that you're completely satisfied with what you're currently doing and you're already very successful, but who do you know who's open to making extra money on the side, likes helping people and being the first to know about something? And sometimes we're like, oh, And again, don't worry, I know I'm going fast. I just want you to see what approaches we have available, and then we're going to have a separate video going in depth, okay? So then we have how to invite someone in another network marketing company. Maybe you know someone who's already in MLM. And then basically you just see if they're happy with their company and maybe see if you guys can swap over reviews, see how you can support each other. Or see if they can, it's kind of like a hybrid of the opinion approach. Just say, hey, like I know you've had a lot of success in network marketing, and you know, I just got started, I'm brand new in this company. I was hoping you'd take a look, give me your honest opinion. Let me know if you think I'm making the right move, even though, of course, you know that you did. But people feel flattered and they like to be in support mode. Now, how to invite someone you haven't talked to in a while. There's 2 ways to go about this, but we'll talk about that in that video, but know that that's available. And last is the direct approach. Okay, the direct approach is just someone that you probably know really well, and you can just say, hey, look, I know that you're sick and tired of being sick and tired at your job, and I found a way to generate some extra income part-time from home through an app on my phone, and I think I can get you in on this. If I shared it with you, would you be open to taking a look? Just straight up, okay? So we're going to go through the roadmap, and that's it for this video, because the roadmap is so loaded with a lot of good information as far as how to handle some certain rebuttals that no matter what approach you use, those questions will come up usually. So understanding that there's only 3 ways a prospect can go when you're inviting them: yes, no, or what is it. If you just know how to handle those, then you're going to be very confident, okay? The reason why some people are scared of inviting is because they don't know what the person's going to say. But if you're already knowing what's coming, then you're kind of actually excited. You're like, okay, tell me what is it, because I know exactly what to say, okay? Or, of course, they can say, is this one of those pyramid things or is this network marketing? And there's a whole page on that, on how to handle that. And that is on page 25. So the invite roadmap sounds like this, okay? So I'm going to text somebody, or I'm going to have you text one of your prospects, and then you just say, hey, call me back ASAP, don't worry, it's good news. So now you've teed it up and they call you, or you can even just say, hey, do you have a minute? I never say, hey, how's it going, because that's very casual, and even I admit to when I'm busy or if I'm in a meeting, if I see someone text me, hey, how are you, then I'll say, okay, I'll get back to that later. But if someone says, hey, do you have a minute, or hey, call me back ASAP, it's obviously much more urgent. And what are the keys to successful inviting? Excitement, urgency, and exclusivity. Urgency, okay? So here we want to, once we're on the phone, whether you texted them, hey, do you have a minute? And they say yes. Okay, great. Now you call them. And then you just say, hey, and you want to be in a hurry. That's why it says step 2, be in a hurry. It's right there. Okay? So then you want to say, okay, I'm so glad I got a hold of you. Listen, I'm running out the door right now, but what are you doing tomorrow at 7:30? Okay, you have 2 preset times. When we sit down, schedule your PBRs, those are the 2 times you're inviting for. Let's say they're free. So when you follow that arrow down to the box that says they're free, then you say, okay, look, you're not going to believe this, but I recently met some very successful people who are expanding their business here in the Dallas area, or in whatever area your prospect is in. Then you say, and they asked me if I knew anyone that could potentially help them, and I thought of you because you seriously are the most hardworking person that I know, the hardest working person that I know. And you're really, really good with people. And of course, you're one of my closest friends, and so I wanted to see if I could get you 2 connected. Would you be open to taking a look at the project they're about to launch? So, super simple. I literally just read that box. Well, I didn't read it because I haven't memorized, and that's the point you should get to, is that it's very, very natural. And understand at the beginning, it might feel uncomfortable, but if you just integrate it into your language, it starts to feel very natural. don't change the invite so much that now they're saying no and they're like, Sarah, the invite doesn't work. Yes, it does. This is what I used to build my business. This is what a lot of the diamonds and above have used to build their business. If you're getting a bad result, then we want to take a look what you're doing, and normally when that happens, I see that you pretty much changed everything in the invite. So just make sure that you're following this. Maybe not verbatim, you're turning it to something that's more you, but it's still pretty close, okay? But yeah, the idea is just, hey, got super lucky, these successful people are working on this, here's what's going on, here's what I thought of you, are you open, okay? If they say yes, then you're going to confirm the details. You say, okay, great, so his name is Mr. James Bradford, and so again, you kind of edify again the third party or your presenter or your mentor, and you say, okay, we're going to be sitting down at my place tomorrow at 7:30 to go over the business idea. So do you know where my house is, right? And you just like confirm the location. If it's a Starbucks, do you know where that Starbucks is? So I'm literally reading this box. Okay, I'll send you the address, just make sure you have it. And then I just confirm other details. And just by taking the extra 30 seconds to ask a few questions, things like, hey, you don't have to dress up, but you just have like nice jeans and a nice shirt. Just don't wear gym clothes or any ripped jeans. It just makes it a real appointment. So yeah, I'll try and come. No, it's just like, this is serious, and you're actually making sure they're like, yes, I can be there early. Yes, I have like okay clothes, business casual. Yes, okay, I have the address. So when you confirm those details, I'm not going to read it all to you, but just read that box and you're going to be gold, okay? Now, what if they say after you tell them what's going on, they say, what is it? Then you just go down to that box, and this box just says, okay, well, the individual I'm working with, his name is Mr. Brandon Stevens, or whoever, again, your upline is, and your upline you want to edify, because people can judge a company before they know anything about it, but they can only judge a person when they meet them. And so if you edify and make them, edify just means, by the way, to build value for and to make them feel comfortable meeting them. So the generic edification I always teach is to say, okay, so the individual I'm going to introduce you to, his name is Mr. Brandon Stevens. He's extremely successful, but very humble and down to earth, and he's so much fun to work with. He's a blast to work with, and I think you two would really get along. So if I can get you two connected, would you be open to, or is it okay if he joins us, something like that? So just successful, humble, fun to work with, you two would really get along. Okay, that's the general edification, and that's in the playbook. Don't worry. But I just say, look, but his business idea deals with health and technology. I don't know all the details, but all I know is this could help a lot of people. Okay, but if I try and explain it, I'm just going to confuse us both because I'm not the expert. Okay, you want to take it off of you, because as soon as you start answering questions, they're going to ask more questions. And again, as I said in the previous video, we want to keep it as simple as possible. And this is why you preface it. You're like, look, I already told you I'm running out the door. I don't have time to get into it, but we're going to answer all your questions when we sit down for coffee. But anyway, back here it says, plus it's about 90% visual, so I can't explain it over the phone, so would you be open to taking a look at their project? Okay? Now, if we go back up to the top, let's say that when you asked about tomorrow at 7:30, they were busy. So then you go to, okay, well, can you cancel and move things around? Even if you don't actually expect them to cancel whatever their plans are, just by you asking actually raises the level of value of what you have to share with them. They're like, wow, I don't know, I can see if I can get covered, or I can see if I can move some things around. Why? What's going on? And then you go into, you're not going to believe this, got connected, blah, 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 blah. Okay, if they're busy at that time, then you say, okay, well, how about Thursday around 6, so your second PBR time to fall back on. Then if they say, yeah, okay, I'm free, go back into that invite. Or if they're sincerely busy, like they're locked up for both those times, then you can say, okay, when is the soonest you can get together? And I say soonest, not, okay, when are you free? Again, that's so casual and it's not urgent. So when is the soonest you can get together? Or do you have 20 minutes tonight to take a look at some resources? Get the business in some form or fashion in front of them in the next 24 to 48 hours. If you just stick with that philosophy, your business will grow so much faster than people who are so casual about it, saying, okay, how about next week? How about the week after, okay? Because you can do the same activity, but someone who does it in a shorter period of time, they're going to promote so much faster because of momentum, okay? So on the next page, I'm just going to talk about a few rebuttals, and that's going to be it for this video. So here, let's say someone says, hey, I'm not really interested. No, not interested. This is at the top of the next page. Now, you're going to get more no's than yeses. I'll tell you up front, and if you've been in the business for longer than a week, you already know that, okay? But the difference between amateurs and professionals is professionals know how to turn those no's into a different kind of yes. So knowing your angles and knowing the alternatives is, for example, let's say someone's like, hey, I don't think I'm really interested, or I'm not really looking for anything. You say, okay, that's fine. Well, would you still at least come just to check it out and try and give me your honest feedback? Because I value what you think, and I think this is exciting. Could you at least do me that favor? Come as a friend. And so when you lean on the support, people, they feel less like you're trying to shark them, and they're like, okay, fine, I'll take a look. And I've seen this work over and over again in my organization. If they're like still like, no, then you can say, okay, no worries, and you preface it. Well, since you're clearly not interested, would it be okay if I just practiced with you? Since, you know, I'm comfortable around you and I think you give me good feedback. That way it does two things. One, it takes the pressure off of you because they know you don't have to give a perfect presentation because they know that you're practicing. So you're just getting used to the information, but it still gets the information in front of them. That's the most important part. I actually had one of my partners in Colorado, he practiced on one of his friends, and his friend ended up getting started on the spot at the $1,300 package. That's the premium pack. And so he saw it and he just said, wow, I want to do this. So don't feel like you have to be an expert or some charismatic, incredible presenter who's done this 1,000 times. You don't. You just talk about it. You read off the slides. And when they see the product and how simple it is and how lucrative the comp plan is, then they want to be a part of it. If it's the right person, it doesn't matter how they're seeing it, they get it, okay? So leaning on the practice approach is great. If not, like worst case scenario, this is what you fall back on. You say, okay, no worries. Could you do me a favor then and just help me out and give the product a try? I would love your honest feedback, right? And so that way, they're still involved in the process, maybe not as a prospect. Well, no, everyone's a prospect, but you're just leading with the product now. So sometimes when they experience the product, they're like, wow, I feel incredible. If this is what you guys are marketing, then I may actually want to look into it. So worst case scenario, they don't want to come and support you, they don't want to let you practice, but they're like, okay, fine, I'll try the product. So then you just say, okay, could you do me a favor, just try the product, let me know if you actually, you know, believe or feel on the product. Believe's the wrong word, sorry. So, and then the last thing on there is if they're being super negative, then you can just, this is what this box used to say, this is at the bottom of the no, not interested box. Right now it says, okay, well then can you do me a favor? If they're like, dude, those are pyramid schemes, those are scams, they totally got you. You just say, okay, like, can you do me a favor? Follow me on Facebook so you can watch how my life is about to change, but don't be afraid to pick up the phone when you want it, okay? But I gotta run. I'll talk to you later. So that's something that I actually got from Brad Parkhill this past weekend. What used to be there and what I actually still use is like, okay, that's fine. I just want to do my part, reach out to you so that you don't see me doing really well 6 months from now and say I didn't call you. So let me know if you actually change your mind, you're actually open, but I gotta go. Talk to you later. So you still leave the door open. Like for whenever they put their ego down, then you need to let them know that you're still gonna be there. And so you just say, okay, let me know, but don't be mad, say I didn't call you, okay? So that's what that sounds like. And the last couple responses is they say maybe. If you use this approach and they say, maybe, then that either means one of two things. One, you weren't urgent or excited or edified effectively, or you didn't edify effectively, or they're just like super close-minded and like don't spend too much time there. If they say maybe, that's worse than getting a no because you can't really do anything with it. So maybe you say, hey, look, John, I don't want to waste your time. This is a really big deal and I just thought you'd be open. If not, it's fine. I just need a yes or no. And they're like, okay, fine. Yes, yeah, I'll take a look. And then you go back to the yes box on the roadmap, confirm the details, or if they say, no, it's not really for me, and then you go to the no box that we just talked about, okay? So you just give them a black and white, like, let's not play this game, this maybe limbo gray zone, okay? So the last two is, if they say, is this one of those pyramid schemes? Then you can just say, what do you mean by that? Okay? Again, that's here. You just say, what do you mean by that? Because some people they don't even know. And the worst thing you can do is get overly defensive. No, you know, those are illegal and your job's a pyramid, blah, blah, blah. Your CEO's on top and you're one of the employees at the bottom. Don't do that. That's very amateur and that's not professional. And sometimes people, that's just their word for network marketing. They're like, oh, is this a pyramid scheme? You say, what do you mean by that? And we'll talk about that in a separate video. Actually, we'll talk about it in the next one on inviting with the other approaches. But basically, you just say, like, here's what I know. This is a huge business they're about to launch, but I'm not the expert. Again, you're removing yourself out of the equation. Don't make yourself the issue. And you say, this is a huge business they're about to launch, but I'm not the expert, and I don't have all the information, but I know someone who does. So are you open to checking out or not? So again, you just, yes or no. And you become detached from the outcome. You just say, look, either way is fine. I just need to know yes or no because this is really important. Okay? And so the last thing is, can you send me some info? Some people, they want to see some links and resources, do some research prior. Sometimes they just want to see if you're open enough and transparent. Sometimes when you send it, they don't actually check it out, but they still come to the PBR just because you sent it to them. So the key here, and this is the last thing I'm going to talk about, but it's so important, never send any links and resources until you've gotten 3 yeses. And Eric Worre talks about this in GoPro, and here it's pretty much to the same effect. But if someone says, yeah, can you send me some info? Amateurs will just go, sure, and they send it. And what happens is, life happens, so they never end up watching it. And so if you just get really good at answering these, asking these 3 questions before you send anything ever, then you're going to get a chance of from 5% all the way up to 85% now that they're actually going to watch it. So if they say, can you send me some info, you say sure. If I send you some info, when is the soonest you can take a look? Get the when. So now they're actually becoming a real appointment because they're searching in their schedule, like, okay, well, I got off work around 6, so maybe like 7 o'clock. Say, cool, so if I follow up with you around like 7:30 or 8, you already have watched it, right? You already have checked it out? And they say, yeah. And you say, okay, do you prefer text, email, or Facebook? And they tell you. So now they know that it's coming, they know how it's coming, and they know when, and they know that you're going to follow up. So now they've said yes 3 times, and again, now it's 85% instead of 5%. Which one would you rather have? Okay? And so here, just make sure you get in a good habit of asking those 3 questions, and that way you're being professional. You're just following up when you said you would, versus, hey, did you watch it yet? Did you watch it yet? Did you watch it yet? And that gets annoying, okay? And you feel uncomfortable, okay? So just make sure that you go through those 3 questions. These are the 4 links that I send. But if you're in Diamond Dynasty, you know what those 4 links are. There's a great, like, abundance of resources out there on YouTube for Kayani. These are just the ones that I personally send, and that's actually how I launched Colorado with a bunch of people. I just did it over the phone, sent them these 4 links, and they said either they're in or they're out. And they worked really well because it's a product overview, and then product testimonials, and it's a compensation plan, and then it's the success stories from partners. And so each video is like 5 minutes, and the product overview and the comp plan one are the ones done by Vimeo. It's the Just Push Play ones, and I love them. Very short, simple, and well made. But otherwise, make sure that you watch and rewatch this video so you understand the basic rebuttals, and you're going to be a very confident inviter. So I will see you in the next video when we go over the rest of the approaches.